listening to Boxing Vibes TV News with JD, the only place for the latest and greatest news in the sport of boxing.
What's up, fight fans? This is JD at BBTV News, and I'm back to give y'all the latest and greatest news in the sport of boxing. With that being said, if it's your first time on the channel, hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell. Let's quickly get into it because I'm going to be real with y'all, man. I'm about tired of hearing about this saga with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, but we got the latest, so hopefully we can move on from this. And we're going to talk, a little bit later in this video about what's the next steps for Haney or Garcia. But again, we know that Ryan Garcia has been battling this cheater label that has been slapped on him since he ended up testing positive for Ostarine in the immediate aftermath of his fight with Devin the Dream Haney. Now, originally, Ryan Garcia tried to state to everyone that he felt like ashwagandha was potentially the reason why he ended up popping for Ostarine. We saw where he pulled out the bottle, he showed it on IG, and essentially he talked about ashwagandha being the reason that he ended up testing positive. Now, according to what has just come out from his lawyers, it appears like they're saying that 2 other supplements ended up testing positive for Ostarine, which would give him the case of there being some kind of Ostarine contamination, and that would hold him at least not liable for intentionally taking Ostarine. Now, I'm going to go back to my original point that I have stated all along, and we're going to get into the 2 supplements that they said pop positive for Ostarine, but I've said all along, the one thing that never sat right with me with this Ryan Garcia scenario is everybody knows that you are responsible for whatever you ingest in your body. And everybody knows at a certain level in the sport, you have to invest the resources in safeguarding yourself from potential positive steroid tests. You have to safeguard yourself. There's too much resources at the disposal of Ryan Garcia, really, for this to honestly have happened to a fighter like him with the resources that he had. So let's dig into the 2 over-the-shelf supplements that they said were positive for Ostarine. So we go to the very first one, and this is the supplement that they are stating ended up popping positive for Ostarine. It is by NutraBio, and it is a super carb that essentially helps fuel your workout. So they're stating that this is potentially one of the supplements that actually had Ostarine in it. And of course, there's the argument that he did take the super carb, but he didn't know that Ostarine was in this supplement. Now, another key thing to watch is I'm going to be interested to see if these companies, right, end up really coming out and defending their product, or if these companies are quiet. Because when Ryan Garcia talks about it potentially being ashwagandha, but then now we're hearing 2 other random names, it also begs the question of, well, dang, how many supplements over the counter were you taking? Like, if it first could have been ashwagandha, but then now they're saying it was NutraBio, and then also it potentially was this other supplement that popped positive. Let's get to this one. And this one right now, again, is essentially like an Amazon supplement. But this other one, which is an amino acid, also popped positive for Ostarine. And this is also what they found to have Ostarine in it. It's typically found right now on Amazon, $47. Body Health Perfect Amino Acid Strawberry, right? This is the line of product that he had that ended up popping positive for Ostarine. And so it really starts to beg the question also, just from a critical thinking perspective, I start to ask myself, well, wait a minute. Just how many products was Ryan Garcia taking? And the reason why that's crucial is because, again, if you're going back to understanding testing from VADA, understanding steroid testing, understanding how a lot of these supplements could potentially be shaky, it really starts to make you question why in the world would Ryan Garcia or his team or whoever's around him, why would you be ingesting all of these different supplements? Because make no mistake about it, they found it in the NutraBio product and this body health amino acid, but I almost feel like they had to probably submitted even more supplements for VADA to end up testing. So there's potential that I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Garcia and his team, when it led up to the fight, probably handed VADA probably 5, 6, 7, 8 different over-the-counter supplements. And I think that is an interesting element in all this, because why would you be taking so many over-the-counter supplements when you have the resources to get your own made and to have the purity tested? So, I mean, all of this adds a level of plausible deniability for Ryan Garcia, because even though Ryan knows, he knew from the get-go that he shouldn't have been popping all these over-the-counter supplements, you now can hand these supplements in. They pop positive for Ostarine. And now, instead of the finger being pointed at Ryan Garcia himself, Ryan Garcia can take that finger and point it on over at the supplement companies and say that, hey, they're not putting it on the label that it has Ostarine in it, and it caused me to pop positive. So now it's going to be very intriguing to hear a response from NutraBio and Body Health to see what's their response to this being a positive for Ostarine, because that could suddenly make all kinds of people run from the product if now you're hearing that certain over-the-counter products that you're taking actually has banned steroids in it and you don't even know. Because remember, if you're a regular average Joe, then it's very understandable that you're going to go try to look at reviews and get the best possible supplements over the counter. You're an average Joe. You don't have an excess of money. You don't have access to certain doctors, certain research, certain laboratories. So you're going to go to GNC, Amazon, these places, and get supplements. But for somebody like Ryan Garcia, I still maintain there's no excuse for this. But nevertheless, so here we are. So that's essentially where things are now. We still have to wait to see what the final verdict is from the New York State Athletic Commission. We'll see if these two supplements popping positive for Ostarine would allow the victory to still stand. And we'll also see if this limits the potential suspension for Ryan Garcia. Now that we got past all that, man, let me put this finally to bed, because I really would like to move on from this whole drama of this Ostarine debacle. And here's why. I'd like to move on from it because Devin the Dream Haney and Ryan Garcia are both two young fighters who are in their mid-20s. This is not a scenario where this all transpired and both of them are 34, 35 at the end of their career. Right now, you would hope and you would expect that Devin the Dream Haney, as well as Ryan Garcia, both have a lot more boxing career in them left to show the public. Like, this should not be this big of a story when it's all said and done in their story. There should be a lot more fights on the horizon for both of them. Now, let's first talk about Devin the Dream Haney and why I can't wait to see what all comes of this for Devin Haney. Now, here's the thing. Whether the Ostarine was on purpose or whether it wasn't, we probably may not ever know, because at this point, you know that Ryan is going to stand by the fact that it was unintentional. But when it comes to Devin the Dream Haney, make no mistake about it, it was an epic mistake by Devin Haney and Bill Haney to ignore the weight discrepancy on the scales. It was a gross miscalculation for them to allow Ryan Garcia to purposely make it a catchweight bout while they drained themselves down to 140, and Ryan Garcia did not drain himself and stayed at a certain weight all through camp. So the reality is you have to still put blame on Devin Haney and Bill Haney for going through with the fight. And also, I always say, today, if you're Devin Haney, you can't get clipped by that left hook in the first round. That's the part where I'm like, man, regardless of the Ostarine, regardless of, a lot of things, you cannot get clipped by that left hook in the first round. But the other element is, for Devin the Dream Haney, is even though Ryan finessed him and made it a catchweight fight, and Ryan did pop positive for Ostarine, Devin the Dream Haney still took a thorough whooping. I mean, he got beat down. I mean, so you can, no matter what comes of this, if you're Devin the Dream Haney, you cannot take that beating off of your body. You cannot take those punches to the head back. So regardless of what the New York State Athletic Commission says, you'll never get those punches taken off of your body and the physical toll that it took on Devin Haney. So I'm excited to see, for Devin Haney, where does his career go from here? Hopefully a lot of people are looking at this and feeling like he's young enough. So even though it was a brutal fight that he took a lot of punishment, that maybe he's young enough to where he can bounce back and it won't really have that massive of an impact on him. But also there are people who feel like the beating that he took at the hands of Ryan Garcia will have lasting effects and could potentially change him already at the young age of, 25, 26 years old. So I think at this point, I'm going to be looking very closely at Devin the Dream Haney. I'm excited to see him back in the ring. Remember, since Ryan Garcia came in overweight, he still holds on to that 140-pound strap. So I'm interested to see just how much the damage took a toll on him, or if he's able to shrug off this Ryan Garcia debacle and get back to peak Devin Haney form and really be a viable opponent in the sport of boxing. Now, let's talk about Ryan Garcia and where he goes from here. With Ryan Garcia, I'm really, really interested to see who are his next 2 or 3 opponents. And the reason why that's so intriguing to me is because regardless of the Ostarine and the unintentional ingestion and taking the supplements over the counter, the reality of what we all figured out, but we did not find this out until after the Devin Haney bout, is none of us knew that Ryan Garcia never truly had any intention in fighting in the 140-pound division, where you had Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, and, a number of others, right? So you got Tank Davis, who fluctuates up there sometimes, comes back. But overall, he revealed that he never really planned to fight at 140. And so now that's news to all of us that, wait a minute, so he went from 135, and now he's leapfrogged 140, and now him and Oscar De La Hoya say that they're now only going to do catchweight bouts around 144 or 145. So that leaves us in a very interesting situation with Ryan Garcia to watch the next few opponents that he would face off. Because when you start saying that you're going to do catchweight bouts, it really means that you don't want to face the top level dogs at 147, i.e. Jerron Boots Ennis and some of those other names. But it also means that you don't really want to be down to 140 fighting Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, and others at 140. So you're kind of in that gray area. And so with Ryan Garcia putting himself in that gray area, it's going to be really intriguing to see who he lands next. Because I do feel that there's going to be a lot of pressure for him to perform because, again, it was a good victory for Ryan Garcia, but even this victory is so early in his career, this should not be a victory that should be looked at like it was a Super Bowl victory. All right, you came in overweight, you did defeat him, you did beat him down, but it was supposed to be for a 140-pound title, which would have been, not to mention, would have been Ryan Garcia's first world title, because as much acclaim and as much hype as he has, he's actually never been champion. So that adds another element as to why you really have to eye Ryan Garcia and see what he really does. Because it looks like he's going to avoid your top level champions, but he's going to finesse his weight to where he'll probably fight viable names. But when is he really going to take that leap and really go for a world championship? Now, the last element in all this is the real reason why we won't end up hearing Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia talk about a rematch does go back to the idea that Ryan Garcia skipped over the 140-pound division. He doesn't want to fight at 140. Because I thoroughly believe, this is just my thought pattern, and y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments, but I firmly believe that if Ryan Garcia had fought Devin Haney at 140, and this Ostarine debacle happened, and he popped positive, and, it was tarnishing his fight, all the kind of stuff was happening, I personally believe that Ryan Garcia immediately would have been ready for a rematch. Immediately. I believe Ryan Garcia, the moment that test came back positive, if he knew in his heart that he did not intentionally take any steroids, we would probably already have a date set for Ryan Garcia versus Devin the Dream Haney Part 2. But we're not hearing any of that, and we're probably going to see both of these fighters go their separate ways because, again, Devin Haney is truly at 140 pounds, but you got a Ryan Garcia who is jumping over 140 pounds. So we're not going to get that fight because at this point, Devin the Dream Haney is not going to meet him at 144 and 145. He would only fight Ryan Garcia probably again, maybe in a couple of years, if he really fills out and really truly goes to 147. And now the last element in this whole Ryan Garcia situation, I personally say from my estimation, is the fact that you can bet your bottom dollar, you can bet every ounce of breath within you that Ryan Garcia has already played his hand on the surprise catch weight, right? I can guarantee you right now, which is why it makes it interesting for Ryan Garcia, that he's not ever going to get any fighter, not any top fighter. He'll never get any top fighter in the ring again if he purposely comes in overweight. Everybody has watched how this Devin the Dream Haney situation has unraveled, and there's not anybody who would put the money over their health or the fight if Ryan Garcia pulls this again. So it's going to be interesting now that Ryan Garcia used that sneak ploy where he made it a catchweight bout, but Devin Haney didn't know that until they got on the scales and paid him off. But I believe that you'll never find another fighter who will make the mistake that Devin Haney did in going through with the fight when Ryan Garcia purposely comes in overweight. So, by my estimation, every fight from here on out, it is going to truly be a fight for Ryan Garcia where it truly will be on an even playing field. I don't see him getting by with that tactic ever again. But it is what it is, man. At this point, I really hope that these two fighters move on with their career. I'm anxious for the New York State Athletic Commission to go ahead and give whatever punishment, let it be punishment served or whatever it is, so that we can get Ryan Garcia's next opponent on the docket. And same thing with Devin the Dream Haney, so he can move past this and move on with his career at 140. And we can see how things go if he can become unified or undisputed down there at 140. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Till next time, this is JD at BBTV News. I'm going to keep giving y'all the greatest and the latest news in the sport of boxing. Till next time,